I went to hold with the BTU. I think I was maybe one of the leaders of the BTU,
And BTU again was?
Baptist Youth Convention. And that came from the what they call the Union of Churches, the Baptist Union, because I think your uncle played the choir. I sang in that choir. What was the name of that choir?
The Crusaders?
Yeah, Crusaders.
So you sang in the Crusaders?
Yes, I sang in the Crusaders, yeah. But I was assistant superintendent to Mr. Hyson. But I didn't stay with Maryfield too much longer because when I got married, I left. After I went to Hampton, I didn't come back to Maryfield as active because I think I was, when I was dating, then I soon got married. And then when I got married, I decided that I wasn't going anywhere. And then when I came, my husband retired. Then we moved here. Yeah, that's right. And then that's when I joined Bethany.
So you were there when Reverend Parker was the pastor?
I was there.
Can you talk a little bit about Reverend Parker?
Reverend Parker was a wonderful, wonderful preacher. But he had difficulty in getting to church because he didn't have a car. He had to travel by bus. But he was a wonderful minister. I loved him. But Reverend Terry is one that I really admired because he kept that beat part of Maryfield going, especially as far as the community was concerned. Because I think he was more involved because he was there in the community. And that's what I liked about him, because he would keep the community going and what was happening.
Do you remember who lived in the community right around the church?
Yeah. Mrs. Terry, Mrs. Edith Terry, and Everett Terry, her husband. Mrs. Worthy Johnson, oh, I loved them. And her husband, he was a trustee. And I think she was a deaconess. I'm not sure. Yeah. And then Vivian Blackwell. And of course, your great uncle, I guess it would be Joe Collins and Mrs. Annie. Yeah, you know about them.
Mm-hmm.
And the Gibsons. And Mr. Gibson was a deacon, beautiful deacon. And his wife. And their family. I think he had about 8 or 9 children. And the Woodlands. You know the Woodlands? They lived down back, I think, of Lancel Road. Yeah. Uh-huh. And I loved the Woodlands. They were wonderful people. And then the Tenners, but they didn't belong to Maryfield. Because your aunt, Hazel, the Tenners used to take care of foster children. And your aunt's husband, Ernest Morris, oh, I loved him. He was from a foster home. So that's where your aunt met him. Yeah, they lived in Maryfield.
Did they have a foster home in Maryfield?
Yeah. They didn't have a foster home, but they took care of foster children. And Ernest Morris was one of them they took care of. And another one they had too. I can't think of that name. Mm-hmm. But I thought so much of it. And Lord, your aunt and Ernest Morris, they were lovers from heart. Great day. I'll never get that. I used to laugh because sometimes I'd be at choir rehearsal and they would have to stop kissing to come into choir rehearsal. Oh, they were lovers.
So did you ever go to the Pines and visit?
Oh, yes.
What was the Pines like?
Oh, it was lovely. I used to go down and visit Dolly's mother. Oh, my mother thought so much of her, and Myra, and Helen. Oh, we thought so much of them. Yeah. And also, your aunt lived in Maryfield too. Your grandmother's sister. She used to live, and after Mr. Joe died, Mr. Joe Collins died, Deacon Collins died, and Miss Annie, and then lived there, didn't she?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Helen? I thought she lived there. Oh, and Bill? You don't know Bill, do you?
Yes, they lived in the Pines. They live next
But
to.
didn't they move up in Murphy?
I'm not sure.
But
Yeah.
I know they were in the Pines. I know they were there, but I thought they moved from the Pines.
Now, do you remember Jenny Ransel?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
She was wonderful. She was my mother's best friend.
She was one of the
Yeah,
founding people.
Yeah, that's right. And she was your daddy's mother. My mother thought so much. My mother just thought a lot of the Ransels, the Lees, the Collinses. It was just good people. Yeah. And so she was a wonderful lady. Wonderful lady. So I don't know why was it that I grew up with such wonderful Christian people, and I'm not finding that now.
Yeah. Times
I
have
don't know
changed.
why.
So you got married,
Yeah.
and your husband was in the
Military.
army, military.
Military.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it was still segregated. He was in World War II, correct?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, because when he first went in, he was stationed at Fort Myer. Fort Myer was segregated. All the black soldiers were down, he called it downhill, down there where the horses was in the stables, and they had to clean up there. And all the white soldiers was up on the hill where they had most classified buildings and all where they worked. But it wasn't long after he was in the military that they became integrated. And he was so glad. And he said, now I can speak my mind. Because he said before, you had to take what they gave you and walk away. But he said, now I can speak my mind. And then it was a better place for him and for me when they became integrated. Because he could go to the places where he wanted to go and be where he wanted to be. Then they started promoting everybody, because everybody was promoted on the same level. But before, the white soldiers got all the promotion, but the black soldiers didn't.
And he fought in World War II?
Yes.
Where did he fight?
New Guinea. He was messenger. And he got wounded when he was over there too. He was a motorcycle messenger, and that's why he got wounded in New Guinea. Yeah.
And so you all journeyed to Germany.
Yeah.
So what was it like in Germany where you had freedom, but in the United States it was still segregated?
I don't know. I wanted to, what they would call, hey, let's take out a king card. Well, that's what they called, becoming a citizen then. I liked it because I just felt, I didn't feel important, but I felt free. I felt so much better over there than I felt here. Because the people over there admired you. They didn't worry about the color of your skin. You were just a person. And that's what I liked about it. You were people. But here, what are you? And we still have that problem.
Now, when they had the March on Washington, you said you were in Germany.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
I liked the March on Washington, but then I wondered, how long will this last? But it was a peaceful march. But I'm wondering if the march meant anything to us as people, as black people. Because it seems like a lot of black people have gotten away from the peaceful part of it. You understand what I mean? And what did Martin Luther King march for? What did he say in his speeches, and so many of them? This is not violence. This is not violence. This is peace. And I'm not marching and I'm not fighting for anything but peace. And then he said he wanted us to think of ourselves as somebody and to live out his dream. What was his dream? And I don't think a lot of young people didn't get it. Because you don't have too many people that enjoy freedom, especially the black people. Yeah, black people have a lot of freedom, and look like to me, they're not as far now as they should be. Now, I don't know, maybe I got freedom wrong, but I think freedom is doing things that are right and being somebody, especially when it comes to the young people. What did you have freedom for? To do? I should not admire you because you are living this dream. Let us be somebody. And I know we can't all be professional, but we can be a good citizen and a law-abiding citizen.
So do you vote now every election?
Oh my Lord, yes. I wouldn't miss it. I even vote for just the little simple elections in the community. The ANC, Community Commissioner Law. Every time there's an election going on, and I just walk right down there to Henley.
Because it's that important to you.
It's that important to me because we've had it so hard. That's the reason I tell my children and my grandchildren, look, let's not be a bum out on the street. Let's be somebody. If you are a mechanic, be the best mechanic. If you're a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper. If you're a domestic worker, be the best.
So do you think you learned a lot of that from going to First Baptist in Maryfield?
Yes, I did. I learned a lot from segregation because I wouldn't go back there for nothing.
Do you feel like the church helped protect you
Yes, they did.
from segregation?
The church at Murrayfield gave me a foundation that I will never. Just being around people at Murrayfield, seeing the things that black people did and lived as families, gave me a sense of belonging. And I think that's the reason that I don't have an animosity in my heart.